Hello, my beautiful rainbow people. Welcome back to the Controversy of Zion, my Pot Smokers Bible program, which is designed to create the controversy of Zion. And today, I'm hoping to really make the controversy in your face, so to speak, because my subject of the matter of today is the priesthood. Now, everything that I'm doing is based on the prophecy of Israel from the Old Testament of the King James Version of the Bible. It is what I call the Book of Zion. I put together the prophecy of Israel from the scattered testimony of the various Old Testament prophets and came up with the Book of Zion. And the Book of Zion foretells the end of this society and the beginnings of our next society. And the pivotal figure in that time is the priesthood. Now, the priesthood of Zion is absolutely nothing like what you'd call a priest in this society. Totally opposite. And that's what this program is designed to discuss. Now, the ancient priests of Zion were pre-flood priests in a totally different society based on a totally different everything. And we are reinstituting that priesthood. That's actually about the only thing that we're going to reconstitute from prior to the flood. Because, well, because that was just, well, we men have done to this society the exact same thing that we women did to the last one. And at the pivotal, at when men created this society, the one thing that God changed was the priesthood. Now, prior to the flood, the priests of the gray were more in line with interpreters than what we would call a priest, because their duties were to interpret the telepathic communications from the aliens into the verbal speech of the humans. Because you see, God means those who from the heavens came. And God today we call gray. And those gray aliens are telepathic aliens. They don't speak with their vocal cords. In fact, their vocal cords are so atrophied that they no longer function. So they would have to genetically alter their physical form in order to speak to us vocally. That's where the priests came in. The priests were a particular group of people who were given a substance that activated their telepathy. That substance is THC. And today we have it in the form of marijuana. Now, the priests prior to the flood acted in the Greek template. The temples of the ancient world were not religious facilities. There was no such thing. There really was no religion. Because God means those who from the heavens came. Alien. What we would call aliens. And they were not all-powerful supernatural beings that were omniscient. They were authorities. And they all had economic, no, not economic, political functions. Each temple was an office of government. And each human official in that office was a telepath, what we call a priest. Now, the actual authority of the temple was the gray, the god. The political function from the higher alien intelligence. And the priests were the mouthpiece. They were the physical bodies of the god. They spoke for the God. They functioned for the God. Because the God, first of all, is not on this planet because they don't breathe oxygen. So they always had to be separated from us. Now they could function within our atmosphere in special suits. We have examples of them in our archaeology. And they were hybrids that were created because we are a hybrid. So some of them were hybrid enough to walk the earth like Krishna and Muhammad. So we had communications with these gods, and a few of them actually did walk the earth, but most of them worked through their human counterparts, which we call priests. So a priest was not a religious person, it was a political authority. The office of the priest would be equated to a House of Representatives or a congressman. Well, not really, because they were, it's like the elected official was the god. He was elected by the council of elders from the grave. And then the priest was trained to be their mouthpiece. So what we call a priest is totally not what the gray intended or need, or what we, the Zionite priests, will become. Because we are going to take the office of the priesthood and make it active again. We will be the telepathic mouthpiece of the gray aliens who have come back to us to help us to restructure our society in a more sustainable way, to get us through this very deadly period of time that we're about ready to go into, to see us through the rough spot. Now, when they came the first time, we were so primitive, they had to rule over us because we didn't know what we were doing, and we were just wild animals pretty much with this added intelligence that they gave us with their genome. So they are not coming back to rule over us again like they did before. So there will never be the ancient equivalent of the temple structure where the alien is an authority on planet Earth and humans have to abide by the God's will. In this present age, we have matured. We can self-govern. So the gray are not here to govern over us. They are here to help us through a very dangerous time in our history when we will be destroyed from within or from without help. So we who are the priests of Zion get high, because THC is the nutrient necessary for telepathy. It comes from the native homeworld of the gray aliens. Marijuana does not come from this planet. So if you use marijuana, you have chosen to become gray. You have chosen to activate your gray anatomy, and you have the ability now to become a priest of the gray. Now, to be a priest of the gray, as I just said, is not to be a religious figure, because there's no such thing. The gray are aliens, and they need someone human to give them a voice that they don't have. And that's what the priesthood is about. So when we set up the temples of Zion, which we will, I hope, in one form or another, they will be structured after the ancient pre-flood political temple structure. No religion involved. So the priests of Zion will be interpreters for telepathic aliens who will do the actual physical things for the gray on this planet because the gray breathe nitrogen and cannot walk among us. So we are their workers. We do for them the things that they require us to do for them on this planet when they come, because they can't do it themselves. They're aliens. This is our planet, our world, and they are here to guide us to make it a better world through the priesthood. So the telepathic potheads all have a choice to make. Do you want to be paired with a gray and be a priest so that you can help humanity through your telepathic communications with the gray? Now, they have abilities and technologies to do things that we would call miraculous. So, yes, a priest of Zion can do miracles because they have the knowledge given to them by the gray, and they have the technology used by the gray to help us here. So we can do amazing things as priests, but not magical things and not religious things. We are doing political, human, social things. We're social workers. We're interpreters. We're not preachers, because preaching in Zion is not allowed. You will never go to a temple of Zion and get a sermon. What you will get is a qualified, trained interpreter of the gray who will have the means to help you deal with whatever it is that you need to help with. That's what our job is, to help humans through gray, to be that middleman. Not for profit or money, like we have in our society, but for the good of society. That is our job, to speak for the words of the gray to the humans, to be that go-between between the two, because it's necessary. It's not a glorification thing. It's not an immaculate thing. It's not a religious thing. There's no belief in this, okay? I'm never going to ask you to believe a damn thing, because a priest's not there to convince you of something. They're there to provide a service. So there will never be a sermon at a temple of Zion, but there will always be a helper, an interpreter, someone who will provide you with whatever it is you come to the temple for. That's what we are. We are the helpmates of the gods and of the humans, the interface between the two. Nothing more, nothing less. And you don't have to believe a damn thing, because the gray are real. They're here. You can see their ships flying around. And once we make first contact and they come to Earth and we see them physically and know that they're real, then the priesthood of Zion will be created. Because the gray will pair up with telepaths here from among the population of pot smokers. And they will be a working unit in whatever their chosen field is. So a human telepath, a pot smoker, will find themselves a companion of the gray, and they will have a job to do for the human race, as opposed to going to a church or a synagogue or whatever and giving lip service to God, and God being this fantastical, all-powerful being that's gonna kill you if you do anything wrong. No, that's not what a priest is. That's not what God is. So may the gray watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm, and may they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it, and make that your guild choice when we get to Camp Zion, which is going to be soon, I hope. If you use drugs, stay happy and high, you have every right and reason to. You have the potential to be a priest of the Most High God of Israel, the Gray. So, I'm going to say later now, because I never say goodbye.